Hey everyone, my name is Will, and I like to start things off with a question. Do you like fast food? Because I love fast food. I like it. And to be honest, I think a lot of other people like it too. And growing up, I used to eat a good amount. And I also learned that fast food has a lot of negative effects on one's body. But that didn't stop me. And I used to think growing up that fast food will diminish in popularity. It will never be as great as it was in the early 2000s. But coming back here to California after my military service, going through all those old neighborhoods, it looks like there are more locations than ever. And it looks like the popularity has increased as more people are eating out and eating more fast food. But why? And that's something I'd like to cover in today's speech. The factors that go into its increasing popularity, the demographics and who they're aiming for, and how does this impact us as a whole, as a country. So going into my first point about how the popularity is kind of increasing for fast food, I'd like to bring up an example that isn't necessarily tied to fast food, but it is tied to something close. Hydration. Prime hydration is what I'm going to be talking about. And it's a great example because it uses two very popular influencers in today's day and age to basically market their beverage. And as we as a population change how we consume media, so do the advertisements change to fit us. And it doesn't matter which industry. And that's actually one of the leading ways that they build up demand, advertisements. Because according to Grocery Gazette, this company, Prime Hydration, has actually shot up to number 4, top 4 best-selling hydration drinks in 2023 here in America. Now they're competing with number 1 here in Walmart. And this year, Dexerto.com says that they are outselling Gatorade, thanks to those two influencers. Now, another way that fast food is kind of just bringing us together or holding us down with, their popularity is really with our wallets. Now, the more we buy, of course, the more they're going to sell. But NBCLA has noted there was an 8% increase in minimum wage, which also they note that there was also an increase in menu items, in their pricing, which is tough because that leads into the next thing, which is the demographics, because where they specifically choose to open up their restaurants gravely impacts people's buying purchasing options, because a lot of people don't have the ability to consistently buy at a grocery store food for themselves when there's fast food there that's cheaper. Now, going into the demographics of everything, CNN Wire has actually noted that in 12th place of 2020, Baltimore has made it as one of the most densest areas for fast food options. Yep, and then Data USA has actually noted 58% of their population in Baltimore was African American in 2020. Today it's 61%. Which actually brings up another weird and interesting term called the food desert that I actually read about in a study from PLOS One. They actually defined a food desert as more along the lines of an area where you have more options to purchase fast food than you do to purchase good, clean groceries. Now, they actually did a study about where these food deserts are, and they actually found that a lot of counties in Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia are the most affected areas, with those specific areas of food deserts being the highest in that states for obesity. Now, NIH.gov actually brings up a pretty interesting point because demographics, them opening up a lot more in ethnic neighborhoods as well. With food deserts, NIH.gov has actually mentioned that if you live in a colored background neighborhood or a more impoverished neighborhood, you have more access to fast food than any other place in the country, which is a factor for the whole country. Now, let's take a look at the big picture here, because how does this impact us, especially medically? Because this would have a lot of connotations for that. Well, according to Trust for America's Health, 49.1% of adults in the United States are considered to be obese, with Latinos and African Americans being the most impacted groups and making up a large percentage of that percentage, with 45.6% and 49.9% being the respective percentages for both those groups. Coincidence? I don't think so. No. Not with the way that they look at the food deserts, and they have done research that they have the higher obesity rates in this area, and then of course in more ethnic neighborhoods they have higher obesity rates as well. Now, NIH.gov also mentions that as of 2021, we actually reached the highest of 11.6% in diabetes. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you take into account the population of the United States is over 300 million, that means that over 30 million people are being impacted by that. That's a lot of people. Now, who pays for all these treatments? We do, the consumers, as well as paying for fast food. We pay for the medical treatments with our taxes. Now, NIH.gov also mentions that we have spent over $400 billion in medical treatments just for obesity and diabetes as of 2022, with that number expecting to increase year by year, along with the number and percentages of obesity and diabetes. So, looking back at everything, we all know that fast food is inherently bad for us, but what gives? Why do we feel so stagnant? You know, with that increase of minimum wage and the increase of prices, it really didn't do anything. If those were the measures that we're trying to take to, get us off of their reliance for fast food, it's not really doing the job that it needs, especially because a lot of people know that fast food's bad, but they don't know that it's this impactful for us. So with that being said, maybe I can't do anything about it. Maybe you can't either, but I just say, let's just be aware. Because at the end of the day, all we can do is try to break our reliance on it. Because that's the best anyone can do, right? Is try. Thank you.